Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and if you are new here, hello, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing for lots more diamond painting content. And if you are back, welcome back. Today I'm here for my weekly WIP and Chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress. Chat stands for Chat, so feel free to whip out your WIP and work alongside me. I'm just going to be chatting with you guys and catching up on what's been going on this week. And I always look forward to these videos, and also then from hearing from you guys in the comment section, just letting me know what you've been working on and what you have been up to this week as well. So I'm going to be working on a diamond painting this evening, and you're welcome to diamond paint along with me or treat this like a podcast. I don't really know how many people watch the screen while I diamond paint. That would be an interesting thing I'd be curious to see. So if you think of it when you get to the end of this video, I'll try to remember to mention again. Let me know. Are you one that watches the screen of a WIP and Chat, or do you just kind of put it on and you actually do work alongside me and just have me in the background and listen? I virtually never am watching the screen when I've got a WIP and Chat on, because usually I'm like, all right, let's settle in and get some diamond painting done. Speaking of diamond painting, let me really quickly go through what I'm going to be using this evening and working with this evening. So the diamond painting kit I'm going to be working on is this gorgeous brand new kit from Randa's Crafty Corner. No, I'm not misspeaking. Randa's Crafty Corner launched diamond paintings a week or two ago, and I immediately ordered actually both of them, both to support a small shop at launch, and also because I genuinely loved the artwork for both of these kits. And the size point was extremely appealing to me. This is 50 by 50 centimeters, and it's hand charted, it's licensed, it's got all the things that I look for in a diamond painting. And also, I just really love Randa of Randa's Crafty Corner. I've been a long time fan of her scented putty, which I'm going to be using. I'm working with a Randa kit. Like, I kind of want to work with all the accessories from her shop as well. I've been using her scented putty forever. 2 years probably at least, I think, since she launched it. There's lots of fantastic scented putty shops out there, but I have to say that hers is the one that I regularly come back to and really enjoy. So I'm going to be using the scent Awapui and Seaberry, which I don't know if I've actually used this one and tried it out yet. I'm going to use that in my multi-placer, and then I'm going to use this hardened sticky wax in my single placer. That one's in Strawberry Shortcake scent. This pen is from Madwood Turning. It has the fox, it has the green and the orange. I have to use it with this kit. And then this pen is from Black Wolf Woodworks. I just thought the greens were a really nice match, and kind of the woodland feel with the hybrid. And then both of these minders, okay, so I think I got this from a shop literally almost 3 years ago at this point, so I cannot remember what shop it is from. And then this one is an AliExpress. I got this as a pin from AliExpress and converted it into a minder. So I have a ton of fox minders because I love foxes almost as much as I love dragons. So lots of fox minders going on here. And then the tray is from DP Gal Creations. And I used this in a WIP and Chat a few weeks back, but I wanted to use it again. I've kind of put it in the rotation, and I want to make sure I set an alarm for when she does one of her weekly restocks, because I'd love to get some in a bigger variety of colors. I just want to have some more 3D printed tray shops that I can recommend to you guys as well. And I do actually really like these a lot. So let me go ahead and get a pen loaded up. Why don't we, I haven't actually used this pen in a minute. So I'm going to clean out the tips on both of these, and we'll reload both of them with our new stuff. I often find that because I rotate through pens pretty freely, I have a really large pen collection. I actually would really like to try to downsize it just a little bit, because, I've been diamond painting for almost 3 years now, actually 3 years on April 1st. And I started collecting pens not long after that. And so I feel like your tastes change, especially after 3 years. And so there are a lot of pens that I bought, especially very early on, that I'm that was before I really had a sense for what my personal tastes were. Had a sense for what are the actual styles of pens that I enjoy, and got a sense for what different turners are out there and stuff like that. So, by the way, yes, I just use my tweezers to clean out my tips, including these. These are the skinny metal multi-placers. I get asked about these a lot. These are from an AliExpress store. I think they're literally like 50 cents each. So I tend to buy them in bulk. I have them linked below in the description box if you want to take a look. And some people are wary of ordering from AliExpress. They're like, I just don't know when I'm ever going to get my stuff. I've ordered these like literally like 30 at a time from this one shop, and I always get them within like 2 to 3 weeks. I've done that a few times. So that tells you how many pens I have. But yes, I mean, they're skinny. They're the thin metal multi-placers, which I've tried so hard to use the wider metal multi-placers, like the everlasting tips, which are actual like stainless steel and stuff. Like, I don't think these are actually stainless steel, but they're wide. And so I just don't reach for them as often, but it's also subjective. It just depends on your personal style of diamond painting, like how you pick up the drills and stuff like that. But okay, so I kind of, oh, that wasn't totally in frame, was it? Sorry, you guys. What I did is I just went on the edge and I just tried to like cut some off. Then I have to go back in and kind of make sure it actually is filling the multi-placer the way I want it to. And if you find that particularly your multi-placer tips is where you'll run into this. If you find that they're loose when you go to put them in your pen, you can see if you wrap the end in a little bit of washi tape, that is a safe and easy way to prevent it from like being too loose in here. So that did the trick. All right, let's put some of this wax in it. I'm trying to remember, I think scraping did it. I think the last time I used this, I also mentioned, like, be sure you try out your waxes and putties and stuff. If you have big, like, climate, if there's weather differences, like, from season to season, and you try out a particular product and it doesn't work at all for you during a particular season, try it again in, like, different weather and different climate. That just pulled right out. I was trying to just get off the excess, but see, like, it's much cooler here today. It's a rainy day, and so this is actually pretty hard and sticky. It's not as soft. In the summer, sometimes this goes a little bit soft, and I think that Rand actually suggests, like, try putting it in the freezer to help the formula kind of set a bit and get it a bit, like, more easy to scrape like that. So anyway, let me grab this is a ceramic tip pen knife thing. This is a ceramic edge. It's not actually like sharp to your finger. You're not gonna cut your finger. I find that this is the safest way to cut the plastic cover on a canvas. I press decently hard. I've never cut through a canvas with this ceramic blade. You can get them on like Amazon. A lot of diamond painting accessory shops on Etsy will sell them as well. You can get them on AliExpress. They should not be expensive. But look, you guys, we're opening up this section with the fox face. I kind of, like, I was okay when the timing worked out on that. I was like, oh, I bet they'll like working on the fox face with me. So I've been really incredibly happy with this kit so far, you guys. It's zipping right along. I finished kitting this up about 24 hours ago, and I'm already almost 1.5 rows into the 4 rows. Like, it's zipping along. It's got color blocking. Like I mentioned, it's not a huge size. It's 50 by 50. The color blocking is giving me life. The symbols are really easy to read, and it's just, the glue is great. It's definitely hand charted. I can tell that right out the gate, and it just is a really adorable image. I'm really happy. I'm curious to see how the rendering and the charting looks when I get up. Like, I want to see the fox, definitely, and see how that looks. I really want to see what this elf girl's face is going to look like. You can kind of see her face here. I want to see how that's going to look. Do you hear my cats decided it was dinner time? Do you hear them, like, crunching away over there? Thankfully, even though this, like, mouth sounds really are like nails on a chalkboard to me. It's like legit misophonia. Cats crunching doesn't tend to bother me, but I literally turned to Adam earlier this week and I was like, are our kids old enough we can start teaching them to chew with their mouth closed? Because I was getting it in stereo the other day when we'd given them each like a couple of Skittles for something, and I just hearing them chew, I was like, I feel like my skin is crawling. I can't do it. And then it came up in someone's live earlier, like they're talking about like the restaurants or places that have like the good ice that you can like chew on, and I was like, I couldn't be roommates with anyone that chewed ice. Like it's, oh my gosh, it literally is like the squeaky sound. It makes my skin hurt. It makes my body hurt. I can't do it. And I'm like, Adam, I wish I were exaggerating. Like the sound of like chewing and mouth sounds, I literally cannot stand it. It's what a random thing for me to like start off this WIP and Chat talking about. My quirks and sensory sensitivities. I have a lot of auditory ones. Anyway, I just said I'll start because I heard my cat start eating and chewing and chomping over there. That's so incredibly random, but that's okay. So I'm really happy with this kit so far. I have needed some of these like smaller round drill kits with color blocking in my life, and this is totally fitting the bill. I'm so excited. I probably, after I finish this, I will probably work on my cross stitch conversion for a little while. And then I'm looking at the calendar and trying to time things out for a secret project. It's like I want to time the reveal and time when I finish that project. So yeah, we'll see. But thankfully, it's very convenient to have that long-term cross-stitch conversion project going because I can use it for filler when I have stuff like this. So kind of paired with that, the said secret project is also somewhat related to the event that I've talked about hosting in May, which I'll be very happy when I can share more with you guys about that. Speaking of events, I'm glad that things are starting to move forward with some of these things. I should hopefully have some more information for you guys for Summer with the Masters here very soon. There were just a couple of things that I needed to wait to happen first. And yeah, but rest assured, Summer with the Masters is happening. I think I've narrowed it down to like 1 or 2 kits for my custom that I want to get ordered from Jade here. So I want to get that into her ASAP. Yeah, I really appreciated, there were some wonderful suggestions last week, and I am so sorry I don't have it in front of me. But someone had specifically suggested 2 artists. I'm blanking on the one, but the other was something singer Sargent. And thank you to the person that recommended those 2 artists. I went and I looked and I was like, oh, there's a couple here I do want to bookmark. And there was one piece in particular that I was like, this would look really good as a cropped image. And so I may also order that as a crop of that particular image and use that for like a talking, not like a talking point, but maybe like a topic rather from one of the videos to talk about how like a lot of old masters artwork, if you just take it as is difficult to like really work on well in diamond painting form, because if you just take the artwork as is, often you're looking at losing the detail or having to get a really, really, really massive canvas. And I want to present like this alternative that it's like, well, if you are okay with narrowing down to like a particular element of a piece to focus on, crop in the artwork, that can make for a really different and potentially a much more enjoyable experience than having to get like a huge piece. But there are people that love working on those massive pieces, and more power to you. This is purely for the people like me that are maybe a little fatigued on really immense projects, really large projects. So I don't know, I want to make it feel accessible for lots of people, and that's one of the ways I feel like we can do that. So look at the little fox nose with the outline in this color. It's so good. This kit only has, is it 34 colors? Yeah, 34 colors. I think it's perfect. I love it. The color blending and everything is, it's chef's kiss. But yeah, things are moving along with events and stuff like that. I'm debating like which ones I want to have Facebook group elements, because that is just, it's a whole nother like set of things to sort of keep track of and to monitor and all of that. And I have a Facebook group that I share with Lindsay, Emeralds and Fairy Lights, and we're really lucky that it really is a wonderful group of people. It's been like a really positive and uplifting community, and I'm lucky that I have like some wonderful mods that we get to work with, and like it works really well for us to sort of talk through when there's things that do come up. And that kind of happened a couple of times this past week. It was a couple on the same day, and we're just kind of like, is there something like in the water? Like, is it a full moon? Like, what is going on? Historically, that Facebook group is really like pretty darn conflict free and shenanigans free. Like, it just is not the kind of place where that sort of thing comes up. But yeah, no, like twice in one day there was some stuff, and it just is, it's one of those things where it's like I find myself regularly trying to find the balance of like, okay, there's a ton of conflict and, for lack of a better word, drama fatigue that like I am feeling, my fellow mods and admins are feeling, and just like the community in general is feeling. Like, people are over it. Like, we're not here for that kind of thing. Like, and we've, I feel like, cultivated this space in the Diamonds and Emeralds Facebook group, which, by the way, I always have linked below. We've really strived to cultivate a space where like there's no one's gonna make fun of you for how you diamond paint, or we don't really allow like just shenanigans and drama in general as much as possible. But at the same time, it's hard because we don't want to like shut down discussion. Like, if people are feeling frustrated by something, or if there's like there's this kind of ethical question about like this business or something, it's really difficult to walk that line between we don't want to be accused of censoring, because that has happened, but we also don't want it to just be like a free-for-all. Like, this isn't the place for that, just because it's like that's not what we're here for. We want this to be like a really positive and uplifting space where it's like, I don't know, like we share about our crafts and the things that we love. So it just, this past week was more of a challenge than usual. Heck, even in a post outside of that group, I had put up a post in a different group that I thought was the most like harmless of posts ever. And somehow people got upset about it. And I just was like, it wasn't direct. It actually was not even directed at me, but I just was kind of like stunned with my jaw on the floor. Like literally people will find anything to like argue or get upset about. Like, I cannot. Like, what is going on? Can we all just take a breath and just go enjoy our craft? Okay. So anyway, that's something you'll see us, like, we're really deliberate and conscientious about. Like, we want that to just be a space, and like, yeah, just, I don't know. It's tricky. So I'll have to say, it's like, I don't really know that I want to add in like a Facebook group element for events necessarily, when it's like, well, that's another thing to monitor, because I don't know. So we'll see. I don't think we didn't really have like a Summer with the Masters Facebook element last year. I think it was just Instagram and YouTube. And mostly, just very chill, like work on your old master diamond. Don't worry, like we'll get some info out there, and you'll know kind of what the requirements are and stuff. So please stay tuned. But speaking of like just generally like positive spaces, I have to say that I just had the nicest time in Shea's live today, Crafting with Shea. If you guys don't follow her on YouTube, I mean, I think you probably are, because I think about everyone knows who Shea is. She is one of the sweetest people on the planet and in the community. And I just adore when I can catch her weekly lives on Sundays. And I was lucky enough to get to be able to do so today. And it was just like, I was just so happy. I was so glad that I was able to make it. One of the things that Shea is really wonderful about doing is uplifting newer creators or smaller creators. She's really good about like, she finds their channels. She's like, I don't know how she does it. And then she'll invite them to come live on her channel. And like today it was Lexi Sparkles, who seems so sweet. I'm really looking forward to watching and catching up with some of her content. But it was just, they were so incredibly sweet. And it was just such a kind and encouraging vibe in the chat. And I was like, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is what I think that our community should be. And it was just lovely. It was just wonderful. So I will do my very, very best to remember to link both those gals' channels down in the description box below. By the way, because I know this happens probably nearly every week. If I tell you guys, if I say something in here about how like, I talk about a thing and then I'm like, oh, and I'll link to it down in the description box. If you go to look for that thing and you don't see it there, like, please feel free to leave a comment on the video. Or send me a message on Instagram and be like, hey, I went to look for this link for this thing that you mentioned and I didn't see anything. I will not get mad. I'll be like, oh, thank you. Much appreciated. Thanks, good looking out. And I'll go and add it. So just FYI. Sometimes people do that and sometimes people don't. And then I catch it myself later. I'm like, oh, shoot. That WIP and Chat's been up since yesterday. And I just realized that I didn't add a link for this thing that I talked about. So, just an offering, I suppose. One of the things that came up was it in this? I'm pretty sure it was in this live, but we did talk a little bit about how one of the things that it seems like the diamond painting crafting, I was gonna say community, but some people don't like that word. Just the collective, the subset, the people that create content. If you have whatever it is, anyway, if you're a crafter and you're following along on YouTube or Instagram or wherever those crafting spaces are, I'm just gonna say community. One of the things that people here seem to value the most is authenticity and people just being like, it's totally fine to not be super polished, super profesh, all those things, and I completely 100% agree with that. And one of the things that we talked about there was just that, like, social media can be such a mixed bag in general, because it's really easy to compare yourself to what you see on someone's social media, and it's like you can't compare yourself to someone's highlight reel and their curated, edited highlight reel. I think about this sometimes myself because I enjoy like editing my pictures before I post them on Instagram. I enjoy like doing fun coordinating accessories. I enjoy what some people refer to as doing the most when it comes to certain aspects of things. But I think, I don't ever want that to be a cause for like comparison. I mean, goodness knows I struggle all the time with comparing myself to what I see other people doing, other content creators, other people with Instagram accounts. And I was like, oh man, they're doing that so much better than I am. Oh wow, what I'm putting out is just, it's nowhere near like what they're putting out, the quality, this look, this vibe, this, that, and the other thing. And so, yeah, like even I have to remind myself, like what I'm seeing on social media is like not necessarily a representation of like who this person like truly is. And even if it is, like there's no point in comparing myself and wishing that I were them. It's like I'm just gonna try to focus on like what I enjoy doing and what brings me joy and what seems to be like life-giving and enjoyable to like the people around me. Like that's what I will genuinely try to focus on, more than like I'm going to play the comparison game and always be worried about like how am I stacking up to these other people. And instead it's like just look at what other people are creating and putting out there and being like, wow, like I'm like that's this person did this really cool thing, and that's the end of it. And not like oh, I hate them because they're doing this really cool thing, or oh, I'm jealous because this, or oh no, I suck because I can't do the same kind of thing. Because comparison, gosh, it really is the thief of joy. But too easy to fall into that, especially in more curated spaces like crafting, Instagram, and YouTube and stuff. But I don't know, maybe it's not so bad here as it maybe is in some other circles, even like other crafting areas. But I don't know. I get highly introspective sometimes. But speaking of like people and places and everything that are just life-giving and uplifting and good for the soul, we had the chance to go out with some friends of ours last night, because it was one of the guys' birthdays, and it was such a treat. Adam's dad came up and stayed with the kids, like put the kids to bed so that we could go out. And these are dear friends of ours that we've known since we moved out here, which is going to be like 13 years this summer. We moved across the country like the same summer that I graduated from college and we got married. The kinds of life choices that like I actually do not recommend. It was a whole lot of transition and change for like 3 months time. It was kind of a lot. But we were very fortunate in that very shortly after moving out here, we found a church home that we really love, and we pretty quickly, like as in right away, got involved with a group of other young marrieds and like newlyweds. And many of those people are still very, very dear friends of ours to this day. And there's something that can be really wonderful about going through life with people and being like at that like really similar life stage, with people that just kind of get it. Like we went through the newlywed stage together. We went through like getting pregnant together and some of the like ups and downs that come with that. And now we're going through like having young children together, and even just how much that has changed, where it was like we used to hang out like nearly every week, and now with kids in the picture, with young children in the picture, where everything is just a little bit more complicated. It takes a little bit more coordination, like getting babysitters and working around schedules and extracurriculars and sleep schedules and all the things. We're lucky if we see each other every few months at this point. And part of that is just we wish that we saw each other more often, and if we were better about coordinating things, we'd see each other more often. But it's okay. Like none of us are mad. Like we get it. And we're just, instead we celebrate and are happy for the times that things do work out that we can hang out. So, it did work out beautifully that we got to go out to dinner. We went to this amazing Italian restaurant and had gotten the guy's wife had coordinated everything and got the chef's table, so we were right by the kitchen where they were cooking, which was really fun. And we had drinks and we had like all of the courses. We had appetizers and more drinks and dinner and dessert and coffee to go with our dessert. Like, it was just delightful. And this is gonna sound like really darn cheesy, but I don't like really care. Like, it was just done entirely unironically. But one of my favorite parts about the evening was that the birthday guy's name is David. One of David's like his primary love language is like words of affirmation. And so it was like more than any like physical gift that we might have given. He just would have cherished the most getting like a handwritten card. And then what we did at the table was we were like, okay, we're going to go around and we're going to say like what our favorite thing about him is. And again, it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't like fake or forced or like ironic. It was truly just like, this is a way that like he feels love. and so it was just one of those things that just made me go, I miss getting to spend more time with these people. And I'm like, Rachel, we have to try to make sure we spend more time together because this was just so lovely. And like, these are the kinds of people that I love, 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 love to be around. So, I was just thrilled. I was thrilled that we got to do that. It was a really, really nice night out. Adam and I had we dressed up and, we didn't have pressure to get home by a certain time because it was like, well, the kids are in bed and Adam's dad is there. So it's easy. It's not a big deal. And Adam and I hadn't been out, like the two of us, for like a date in a while. So this was kind of that. And, so it was a really lovely weekend. It was a wonderful Saturday out with friends. I just had a really relaxing and nice day today, and I liked hanging out in Shea's live and hopping around to some other friends' streams when they streamed as well. I did have just the tiniest bit of a hangover this morning, which that sounds a lot worse than it actually was. You guys, I had like two and a half drinks last night over the course of like 4 hours. It's literally just like my body at this point. I have no alcohol tolerance at all. And also like, I don't know, it's alcohol is a quick headache trigger for me, but I just wanted to enjoy the evening. It was like we're having like this fancy, amazing Italian food. It requires like alcohol. It didn't actually, but you know what I mean. I had the most delicious butternut squash ravioli. And they made all the pasta in-house. Like, everything was like very authentic and ridiculously delicious and very, very fatty. We ended the meal with some of the most delicious tiramisu that I have ever had. And I actually am not usually a huge tiramisu person because of all like the coffee flavor that sits and soaks up at the bottom. It's usually too much for me, but this was delicious. It was so delicious. So yeah, it was good times. It was good times. Like, we gotta do this more often. So that was my weekend. It was a good one, like I said. Yeah, it was good stuff. This past week, I have taken like a little bit of a trip down memory lane in a couple of ways. I had to go in and turn off like how Facebook automatically promotes the On This Day feature on your newsfeed when you open it, because being that it is like the beginning and middle of March, like a lot of what I'm seeing, like the last time I was really active on like my personal Facebook and stuff was back like at the beginning of 2020, which was, as we all know, the start of the you know what. And just a lot of what I was posting at the time, like I had posted something like on this day like 3 years ago that said something like, anyone else feeling like kind of heavy today and like it's settling like it's setting in that like this is going to be our new reality for a while and not just for 2 weeks. And like that just hits different now, because it's like I had no idea like really how true that was, and in like a much bigger way than I even realized like at that time. So I just am like, I don't really like want to be seeing these reminders in my feed. Like I don't like it. It's almost, as much as this word gets overused, it's almost a little bit triggering. Like it's just kind of, I don't like seeing it. Maybe I need to sit in that discomfort a little bit longer and like be like, let me pick apart like why I'm having this reaction. Let me get through this so that I'm not letting this like these emotions like rule me or whatever. I don't know. It's not that serious, but like I don't like it. But then I also decided, I don't know why, like what exactly possessed me to do this, but I was realizing like, okay, it's been about a year since Connor had his like sudden emergency surgery. And I was like, I think that my mind has blocked out a lot of that because of the trauma that came with it. And I was like, I wonder like how, like I kind of want to just sort of revisit that. And so I went back and I listened to the WIP and Chat that I did. Like I actually did go back and listen to it, where I talked to you guys and I was like just sort of processing and unpacking it all with you in a WIP and Chat. I had given like a trigger warning at the beginning and everything. But I was listening to that and I just was kind of, I don't know, like I was in tears by like halfway through it. Like I don't know, it brought a lot of those emotions back to the surface. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't know exactly why I decided that I needed to do that, but just sort of listening back through it, I was like, oh, no, there's parts of this that I remember extremely clearly, and there are absolutely parts of this that I completely did block out. And ultimately it was cathartic, honestly, to go back and do that. It felt very cathartic, and then of course I like went and hugged Connor like really hard. But that was, I don't know. This was kind of a weird week for me, honestly. And there were some times where I just felt like my mind, I was struggling to focus a little bit, and I've kind of felt like my mind was all over the place a little bit. And I was like, I feel like I'm struggling just a little bit to like keep my perspective and sort of the really level feeling and level approach to things that I feel like I usually have. It's like I felt a drill go. I just felt like I was really struggling to have that this past week. I think some of it was hormonal. My hormones have been way, 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 way out of whack the past couple weeks. Like my skin has been breaking out like crazy, especially the past week. And I just am like, what is this zit doing here? Like all this like just really not glamorous stuff that does not usually happen to me. So I'm like, what is going on? Like maybe some of it's weather, maybe, I don't know. But I think it was affecting my mood just a little bit as well. So I do feel a bit more level though yesterday and today, thankfully. But not wanted to pick up these ABs. See these pretty red ABs that are here. I am cracking up at myself, by the way, because in the unboxing of this video, this section that we're doing right here, I was like, is she wearing a sling? Like what's holding the fox? You guys, you know what's holding the fox? Her arm. What else would be holding the fox? Like what was wrong with me? Why was I like, she's wearing a sling? No, that's her arm, you weirdo. I'm calling myself weird. I'm not calling anyone else a weirdo. But I thought that was kind of entertaining to myself. Side note, as I'm picking up these ABs, someone posted in like one of the Facebook groups related to diamond painting that was, and said something like, y'all have me licking my diamond painting pen tip before I pick up ABs. And I was like, hold up, what? And apparently this is a thing that people do. And I just am like, No, that will not be me. I literally was like, I'm sorry. What? Are you licking your pen tips before you pick up babies? You guys, just no. The germs, the bacteria don't lick your pen tips. If you're having trouble getting your pen to let go of babies or pulling off the coating, here's what you do. You don't lick it. Just pat it on your jeans or your pants or your shirt or any like slightly dusty, dirty surface. If you have to get it wet, like you get like a wet washcloth or something. Don't lick your pen tips, you guys. I don't know. Am I the weird one here? Actually, I was gonna say this single tip doesn't want to pick up these ABs at all. I'm having the opposite problem. Should I lick it? Is just licking it fix everything? Go ahead. You can make the joke. I won't judge you. Not too hardly anyway. There you go. Make the joke again. Anyway, moving right along before this gets even sillier. Pick up this AB. Let's just use the wax instead. The putty, rather. So, anyway, let me give you some updates on the kiddos because I'm just, like I said, I got completely derailed and I was like, licking your pen. Okay, I'm moving on, I promise. Kiddo updates. So Connor's doing well with school. Report cards went home, which I was like, wow, okay, because they didn't really get report cards with special ed. Like that wasn't really a thing. They did progress reports in a slightly different way. But now that Connor's mainstream, now he gets a report card. So I was like, all right, here we go. He's been struggling a little bit with not wanting to participate in PE. So I kind of want to just touch base. Like I tried to ask him about it. He didn't really have a clear answer for why he's not loving participating in PE. Like part of me just wants to know, like, is there something that's like actually causing him pain? Because this is kind of a recurring theme with him sometimes, is that there will be things causing him pain, but he's really not great about communicating like when that happens, and he really struggles to describe what that pain is. Not funnily enough, this was a thing back when he had his stomach surgery last year that made that process, like leading up to it, really tricky and difficult for us, was that he didn't know how to describe the pain that he was feeling. I think this is common for kids in general. I think that it's possibly more difficult, or there are just additional obstacles for kids that are autistic, like Connor is. So with just how they experience pain and how they communicate about it and how their body recognizes it, it gets, I guess, complicated. Or there's like, wires getting crossed and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to kind of try to figure out, like, is there something, like, what's going on? Because that's unusual for him to just flat not want to participate in something. Like, he's just not that kind of kiddo. And there have been like 2 notes from his teacher that came home just last week that were talking about him refusing to participate in PE. So I was like, this seems kind of strange. Like, let's see if we can dig a little deeper and maybe get a little bit more info about what's going on here. So we'll see. Micah is thriving in his TK program. He's in a special ed TK program in our district, and just a month or 2 ago, finally got to move into a new TK program in the district that has a later start time, and it's been a game changer for him. I think that as I was really reluctant to leave, and I was really sad about him leaving his last teacher, I almost didn't move him to this program to this new class, because I loved his old teacher so much. And I feel like we won the lottery because I love his new teacher just as much. I think that she and the aides in this class are doing an amazing job with Micah. And I think between that and the later start time that's letting Micah get more sleep and fits his sleep schedule better, he's thriving. His speech is continuing to just explode. I followed up with our private speech therapy center that he was assessed in a few weeks back. and that we thought we were going to have started by now. And it turns out that when they had initially quoted us that 6 to 8 week wait list, that wasn't for the assessment. That was for this period that we're in now, which is just to get on the regular schedule. So that's where we're at right now. They said if we were willing to come in the morning, like basically pull Micah out of school, that we're more likely to get the call sooner. But part of me is like, I don't know that I necessarily want to pull him out of school for speech, especially because I have a feeling they're going to suggest like twice a week. I'm going to be like, but he's like just doing incredibly well with being in school. Like I'm really hesitant to have him miss any of that time, you know? So I'm not sure. We'll see. Like, if we don't get a call here in the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll follow up and I'll ask to change our availability after all. So we'll just see. They said that like the afternoon slots, like obviously when the kids are not in school, like those are the ones that fill up first. I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, that's what we want. So like, I get it, but I don't know, you guys. Let's keep working on some of these oranges. These colors are so happy. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Why is that clumped together? I got like a little bit of wet in there or something. Anyway, Micah's doing this really cute thing that I feel like you guys will appreciate. And if you're in my Patreon, you'll have actually like seen him doing this. It's so cute. But Micah sees us, like whenever we're scolding Skip to like get down off the table or something like that, I'll snap at him. Like I'll go like, Skip, get down. And Micah's really entertained by me snapping, but he can't snap yet himself. So what he'll do is he'll just do this little motion with his fingers that I'm doing on the screen where he kind of just almost like, I don't know, like baby sharks or whatever. He does this and he makes a clicking sound with his tongue. He goes, Skip, get down. And it's the cutest thing ever. I love it so much. Oh my gosh, I love my kids so much. They're just the best. I love them so much. Connor he keeps telling us jokes that are not jokes, and he keeps making them up himself. But I have to say, he did one tonight that, again, it wasn't like truly a joke, but it made me laugh, so maybe that like was the point. But he keeps doing these knock-knock jokes, but he doesn't get what a knock-knock joke is supposed to be most of the time. He just likes making us laugh. But tonight, like I said, I about died. He was like, okay, knock-knock. I was like, who's there? He's like, S. And I was like, S who? He gets in close and he whispers, Espanol. And I was like, what in the world? And he loves when he makes us laugh. And he has just like the most contagious, adorable little belly laugh ever. And so I just start giggling, and then he starts giggling, and then we're both just giggling, and it's the best thing ever. So we're trying to work with him on like, okay, this is what a joke is. He actually got a book of jokes like for Christmas. And there was one in there. I don't remember if it was one of, was Adam, was this a book of yours? The one with the dinosaur jokes? Was that your joke book? Yeah, okay. This book has some like secretly really morbid jokes in it. Like Connor was reading them last night, and I like did a double take because I was only paying half attention because, sorry, this is just sometimes what you do when you're a parent. But here, I realized I overheard Connor reading this one, and I was like, hold up, what was that? And he goes, so it's all dinosaur themed jokes, and it was like, the joke was, what goes, ho, 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 plop. A dinosaur laughing its head off. And I was like, that's like dark. Like, what in the world? So I just was like, Adam, what in the like 80s joke book is this?
Wasn't there one that was like, why don't eat dinosaurs, something or other?
Something about winning a beauty pageant or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And then it was like, because none of them are pretty enough or something. It was...
No, because they're all dead.
Oh, because they're all dead. It was just like... Yeah, I was like, why didn't any dinosaurs win the beauty pageant? Because they're all dead. And it was like, oh, what in the world?
Great kids joke.
And Adam's like, this is a great kids joke. And I'm like, this is dark. Like, are we teaching our children dark humor? Like, this young? Like, is this a thing? Okay.
It's not dark to them. It's just a fact.
Right. That's fair. But I just was like, I don't know, you guys. Anyway, total random tangent. It's fine. Let me give you some quick updates, because holy cow, we're 50 minutes in and I'm looking at my little list of notes here and I'm like, I have not covered that much. So things are moving along with house stuff. We had the drywall all put up this last week, and so now we need to prime the walls and then paint them. I'm mostly happy with the work that the drywall guys did for the much lower rate. But Adam and I definitely had a moment after the first day we were here where we were like, well, I guess you get what you pay for. It's good work, but there's just a couple of things, like they didn't really clean up after themselves very well. And there are a couple of things I was like, I don't know. I think that maybe the trim was supposed to go out a little bit further. Just a couple of things. And I'm kind of like, I thought they said they were going to prime the walls after they textured them, but they didn't. Anyway, not a huge deal. We're going to do the painting ourselves. And we talked to a cabinet guy. Was that before last week's WIP and Chat? I can't remember. A custom cabinet guy came out. I don't think it was. And took a look, and we talked to him for a while. He was actually extremely helpful. We had a really good interaction and experience with him. He actually told us, like, well, I'm not going to have any availability for a couple of weeks. He's like, in the next week, why don't you guys take one of the cabinet doors? Because we have to replace one cabinet, one like lower cabinet next to our stove, and then we need to replace our pantry. Those were both damaged by water. We have to replace both of those. He's like, why don't you take one of the doors that they saved? Because they saved all the doors and drawers and faces, or whatever they're called. He's like, take one of those with you to Home Depot, or there's this other like cabinet place, like kitchen supply place, and Lowe's. He's like, take those with you and see. Like, just ask the cabinet people they have there, because these are not custom created. These are like off the line or whatever. He's like, it'll be cheaper if it's still manufactured, which they look like they were, put in the last 5 years. So 5 to 10 years, they probably are. It's like, that'll be cheaper than me doing a custom build for you. I was like, oh, well, thank you for being really honest with us. So we're going to do that this week. And then the only other thing to do will be to get a new bathroom, like vanity and sink situation, because they had to rip that whole thing out too. So it's going in stages. It's moving along. My mom is flying out on Tuesday, which I'm really stoked for. She's going to be here for the kids. Connor has Grandparents' Day this week. And so my mom is going to be here for that. My dad will not, unfortunately. He's in Arizona. He and my mom are in Arizona for spring training. Unfortunately, my dad also just tested positive for what. So he and my mom had avoided it for the whole 3 years that this has been going on. And my mom tested positive shortly after they got to Arizona. And then not 2 weeks later than my dad finally did. And he's been pretty sick. I'm not in the hospital or anything, but just pretty darn under the weather. And he's not able to take all of the good meds. And by good meds, I mean ibuprofen that actually helps with fevers, because he's got some stuff going on with his kidneys and all that. But anyway, they're doing okay. My mom has been healthy and testing negative for several days now, so she's safe to come out. And while she's here, we'll paint. We're gonna do some shopping for the kids, maybe some spring and summer clothes for them. Michael will get a lot of hand-me-downs from Connor, but unfortunately, he does have a different build from Connor, and so not all the hand-me-downs work, especially in, pants. They have a little bit different build when it comes to, the bottoms, so, but thankfully my mom really enjoys helping with getting clothes for them, which I'm not going to complain about. And Adam did get some good news on the job front, and things are moving forward with that. I don't know I didn't really ask him how much he wanted me to share in the way of details, but we did get some good news. It's kind of a mixed bag, but I'm not going to be ungrateful that things are still, he's going to have something. So lots of just generally, good news, and things are moving up. I'll talk to Adam and see what more I can share next week. But yeah, thank you for always being so sweet when I ask for like positive thoughts or when I share about like updates and stuff like that with family. I super appreciate you. I think that's really kind of about it for this week. Oh, never mind. I already talked about that. So as far as this week goes, it might be a little bit lighter on content since my mom is going to be in town, but she usually goes to bed pretty early. And so even if I'm not able to record during the day like I usually do, I can just record after like the kids and her go to bed at night. So hopefully I'll still have some of the usual stuff up for you. I was going to have a video up today, which again is today for me as I'm filming this is Sunday. I did plan on having a video go up today, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the whole weekend off. I don't usually put up videos on both Saturday and Sunday. I usually just pick one, and it's usually Sunday. But I just decided not to this weekend. And I am feeling a little bit like, I don't know, like a little break in content. Like me taking just like a few days off or like a week off in the near future would maybe be a good thing, especially because I'm going to find myself pretty darn busy with hosting events before too long. And I don't want to be like burned out. I want to feel like really well rested and energized and ready to tackle like all of that stuff. So anyway, you guys, I think we kind of made it to the end of this week's WIP and Chat. Let's see, what did I mention at the very beginning of the WIP and Chat that I was curious? Oh, do you guys watch the screen? If you're watching, it doesn't have to be mine even necessarily. Like if you're watching anyone's WIP and Chat, are you watching the screen and watching them diamond paint, or are you just listening while you do work yourself? Answer me this. And also, if you made it to the end, whether or not you want to answer that question is totally fine. If you made it to the end, how about a fox emoji? I mean, we have foxes galore going on right now. We didn't get through all of these gorgeous like reds and brown shades, but the blending is so pretty. It's so, 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 so pretty. I'll post a progress update for you guys on Instagram. So I am on Instagram. I'm just diamonds and washi, but there's underscores in between each of the words. I always have it linked in my description box as well, but that's the best place to stay up to date with my project progress with my WIPs, especially because right now you're kind of seeing like a different WIP every week in these WIP and Chats. I was just thinking about that the other day, that I was like, I don't remember the last time that I had a project that carried over from one week to the next that I worked on. And even if it did, maybe I mixed it up by doing like my cross-stitch conversion project or something instead. So yeah, if you're one that you like to follow along with like progress more regularly than just watching WIP and Chats and then seeing a post review go up, give me a follow over on Instagram. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. Let me know how you're doing and what you were working on. Leave that fox emoji, and let me know also, do you watch the screen during WIP and Chats, or do you just kind of kick back and listen while you craft or go about whatever you're doing with your day? So anyway, hope you guys have a really wonderful week. Thanks for being here. Hit the subscribe button if you made it all the way to the end and you're not already subscribed, because you'll probably like it here if you made it all the way through. Otherwise, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have an amazing, amazing week. Keep taking care of yourselves and being kind to yourselves and to others. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.